So my name is Nathan Wyburn and I am a pop culture portrait artist. I guess most known for using unconventional, weird and wacky materials in my work. If I could present a portrait to anyone dead or alive, oh my gosh. I think it would probably be Freddie Mercury. Big Queen fan, one of the biggest icons of all time, and given that my work pretty much represents icons in pop culture, to me, Freddie is probably the biggest. So yeah, I think it'd be Freddie.
I think my favourite piece kind of changes all the time. I think definitely the George Michael portrait I've made with Wham Bars kind of sums up who I am as an artist really well. Just playful, fun, silly pieces of work that represent icons of our time. But then there are pieces that have a bit more of a story, a bit more of a political punch, a lot of stuff I've done for the NHS and things like that. But I think generally I'm just trying to make people smile.
I think expressive arts are extremely important in South Wales. I think in general anywhere, art is always the first thing that gets the cut when it comes to budget cuts. It's always the first thing that people deem as not as important as other things. But I think if recent years, maybe with the pandemic especially, made us realise was that we need art and we need those things, we need those comforts. Everything from the chair that I'm sat on was designed by somebody creative, to the clothes that we're wearing, to the art that we see on the walls in galleries and hospitals around the world. So I think it's extremely important. And coming from South Wales, hopefully I get to show people that it is possible to live your dream and become an artist, become a creative in any kind of way. And yes, it's obviously very important to me.
I think the first unusual portrait I ever made, I was always using the traditional stuff, pens, pencils, oil paints. And I saw a newspaper headline about Simon Cowell. It said you love him or hate him. And I thought, could I make Simon using Marmite? Like, is that even possible? Put a video of myself on YouTube making that with Marmite on toast. Got a couple of 100,000 views as a 18-year-old boy starting out on YouTube. And that kind of kick-started everything really. I realised people had an interest in this quirky kind of art. And from there, I developed like a bit more of a sustainability message as well. I'm using cheap products, everyday items, recycling. It's got a really cool message behind it as well. So, and when I was in uni, it was a lot cheaper than buying oil paints and canvas all the time. Dreams do come true if you work hard. I've got to meet and work with Dame Shirley Bassey, Sir Tom Jones, like Welsh greats, knowing that this portrait of footballer Declan Rice is going to go to him in a few weeks' time. It's pressure, but I get to do what I love for a living and hopefully bring a bit of light-hearted joy into the world as well. So yeah, it's just really cool. It means the world. And social media is amazing for getting your work out there, as we all know now. It's great. It feels great.
The hardest material I've ever used, maybe snow was tricky. Cat food was also pretty gross because it smelled so bad. I won't be doing that ever again. But generally, whatever I've used, with enough practice and going for it, I've made it happen. My favourite celebrity I've met so far, I think the most receptive to my work was the incredible Joanna Lumley. She loved her glitter portrait I did of her. Also Tom Holland, amazing actor, presented him with a portrait for his charity made by chopping up a Spider-Man costume. So that was really cool, just sort of collaging it back together. So my studio here in Cardiff is actually based in a church. It's in Roath in Cardiff, St Andrew's United Reformed Church. And I have fundraised for the building for many years. I used to live on the street here. I don't anymore, but I've kept in touch with everyone here in the building, and this has become my home, my hub. My studio's here. I also run a thing called Cardiff Theatre Cafe in this church hall, which is a fundraising venture to keep the building open for the community. As with all old buildings like this, the upkeep of them is pretty intense. We can't really get any help budget-wise, so we fundraise all the time with really fun, creative concerts. We have musical theatre here, we have pro wrestling, we have burlesque, anything and everything, as well as every day the hall's used for things like Cubs and Scouts, yoga, Slimming World classes like that. So it's a really fun, creative hub that maybe not many people know of right now, but we're working on that. And yeah, Cardiff Theatre Cafe is growing.
Right now, I am making a portrait of the football player Declan Rice, quite obviously using rice. I try to link the material I'm working with to the person in some way. Sometimes it can be quite literally as obvious as the surname, like in this instance for Declan. But there's been other people like Mary Berry using berries, Keith Lemon using lemons. But then sometimes the message can be a bit more obscure, like a song lyric or a movie title that they're part of. But this one's really cool. I've been in touch with his management and I'm presenting him this in a few weeks as well. So hopefully he loves it, and it's a quirky thing to what he's ever received before. So one for the football fans, one for Declan Rice, completely using wild rice.